If you're watching the recording, welcome. And if you're watching us from the Facebook group or YouTube, thanks for joining us. So today we're going to be talking about my favorite product. And I know most of the people that are joining us today, it's also their favorite product too. Got the lovely Roslyn Saunders on today. Roslyn is a counsellor and coach for codependency, addiction and recovery. And Roslyn loves the AGE Pill as well and is going to share a little bit about her experience with the product and why she loves it so much too. I've got some slides here, so I'm just going to share my screen and we will get started. And we also have a little bit of an audio that I dug up from the past, and it's pretty cool and very exciting. It just reminds us of how great this product is. Really, the science behind it is just really rock solid, and well, the results speak for themselves. So I will start the slideshow. Can everyone see that? Can you see that, Ros?
Yes, I can.
Great. All right. So why you can't be without the Sisel AGE Pill. It's the most popular product sold for Sisel in Australia, New Zealand. So a quick medical disclaimer, that none of the information shared today regarding this product is designed to prevent, cure, treat any disease or illness, and we are not making any medical claims at all. And you should check with your doctor before taking supplements, particularly if you have any health conditions or taking medication. It's important that you do your own research and then consult with, healthcare provider. And this presentation is for educational purposes only. So the first slide here, I wanted to show you basically what happens when we age. That aging starts fairly early on. Technically, even teenagers start to lose their hearing, but definitely the main part of aging starts around the mid-20s. It's earlier for women than it is for men. So it's around 23 for women, 25 for men. And so that's the point where the body can no longer keep up with the damage that's occurring. So every day that we're living, we're exposed to toxins, just breathing, just living. Our body is not designed to live forever, unfortunately, and it does start to decline. And this starts around the mid-20s. So basically the body cannot keep up with the decay that's happening. And it's very slow at first, and that's why, people look young for quite a long time. But the older you get, the faster it happens. One of the main things that happens too, and this one I've been a real big one on recently, last few years, probably before that, but even more so, one of the main causes of aging on the body and the face is the sun. So if you want to reduce wrinkles on the face or aging skin, it's, covering your skin and not exposing it to sunlight. Now, people say, well, that's not healthy because you need your vitamin D. But the truth is that you may be going out in the sun and you still may not be getting enough vitamin D, and you may need a supplement. And so that's something you should check with your doctor. And I did a post on that recently about how it's quite common for people to be deficient in vitamin D. And that if you are deficient, you would need a supplement for sure. And that was said by my doctor, my GP. Anyway, so this slide, I won't go through it all because there's quite a bit of information there, but it continues to decline. Things continue to decline. Fertility starts to decline for women, sort of later 20s, and body mass starts to change, particularly muscle composition as we get older, and then the eyes, so forth. Around 50, hair starts turning grey, and so forth and so on. So I won't go through it all, but I guess you get the idea that things happen. And this is why we suffer more disease and illness as we get older. A lot of people haven't made the connection that, the disease and illness is because of aging, not necessarily because of, something they've done wrong or anything like that. It's just a natural part of life. And so we want to do everything that we can to mitigate the effects of aging. And ultimately, the goal is to be healthy and happy so that we're not suffering and that we're enjoying the life that we live while we're here. So our bodies have the ability to self-cleanse and clean, gunk out of the cells. I'm just going to use some sort of layman terms without going into too much scientific detail. But basically, our cells can self-clean. But as time passes, this becomes weaker, and not all of the waste matter in the cells can be disposed of. A lot of the waste matter that accumulates inside our cells in our body is called lipofuscin and glycation, advanced glycation end products. And it's a toxic waste of aging. So the AGE pill really goes to work specifically and starts to tackle these two products. And it's quite effective at doing that. And we can see we can see the impact it has on the body when you start taking it, and particularly if you take it in a higher dose too. So that is important to note. But lipofuscin and glycation just continues to build as we age. So as you age, the more effort you put in, the more you'll notice, because you've declined so much due to aging. Anything really is a benefit as you get older. So NAD plus has been scientifically proven to extend life in mammals and protect against DNA damage and cellular damage. We've got a short clip from Tom Mauer Sr., the late Tom Mauer Sr., and he talks about the discovery of NAD and its implications and how it relates to the AGE pills. So actually quite an exciting recording and well worth listening to. So the life-sustaining benefits of NAD, it's involved in so many things. It's a coenzyme in the body, and it's just required to live. If you had no NAD in your body, you would be dead. So this does decline as we age, and then everything is impacted. So it's not just one area. And this is why when you start taking this product, because the AGE pill supports the body to boost its NAD levels, that's why you see improvements in so many areas. People have noticed a change in, obviously how they look, their skin, they've noticed hearing, they've noticed eyes, they feel like they have sharper vision. So all these sort of things, and we're going to touch on those, but it's basically an all-rounder product. The AGE pill has ingredients that support NAD, which we've just said. So NAD declines with age, and it starts to decline more rapidly the older you get. So at the age of 20, you're doing pretty good. By age of 40, it starts to go down. 60 is really going down. By 80, it's quite low. So, we found that people who boost their NAD levels when they're at the age of 70, 80, really notice a big improvement. You can see why, because their NAD levels are so low, their baseline is so low that it doesn't take much of an improvement to notice. And I think we've sort of covered that bit. So this is just an illustration. Obviously, this is just a pipe with gunk in it. But as we age, our cells fill up with toxic waste and advanced glycation end products. So that's what the AGE pill stands for, advanced glycation extreme. So the product is designed to go to work and remove the glycation, as well as being a support for boosting NAD levels in the body. I'll go through that. AGEs wreck your tendons, bone, and cartilage. So where do AGEs come from? It's sort of a natural byproduct, but it also comes from the food that you're eating as well. So if you're somebody who's eating a lot of fried food, a lot of grilled, roasted food, you like your toast nice and brown, you like bronzed food, deep fried food, any of that stuff that is loaded full of AGEs, and that accelerates the aging in the body, that accelerates inflammation, oxidative stress, and damage to tissue and organs. So what we eat is really important. I'm a big one on, I don't expect that a pill is going to do it all for you. You really want to tackle health from every area that you can. And as Ros mentioned on the call just before we started, that she's been out, and do you want to share with people just why we are talking about that, Ros, the things that you were doing? So, when we talk about improving our health, it's not just this.
Okay, thanks, Katie. I'm just loving this. I just love this pill. But anyway, so what I've done this morning is I've been out walking with a friend, a safe friend. It's called a walk and talk. And so we went out beside the sea. We walked around the sea. We walked, we talked, we unloaded stuff, and such a wonderful self-care process. And so you're getting the social, you're getting the nature, and you're getting the emotional connection.
Yep. Fantastic. Great. So there are other aspects of health. So while we're talking about AGEs, your diet and what you eat, your mental health has a massive impact, because mentally, if you're not feeling well, you're not going to eat well. You're not going to look after yourself. So, they all go hand in hand, and one feeds into each other and, loops round. So back onto the subject here, if you want to improve and reduce AGEs in your body, sort of cooking that you want to be doing is cooking with moisture. You want to keep your food moist when you cook it. So that includes a slow cooker, that includes steaming, poaching, stewing, boiling food. People tend to not like these processes of cooking because food is more bland when you cook that way, because obviously when you've fried it or you've roasted it, the brown crunchy flavor or color gives flavor, and people prefer food like that. But the healthier option is to go the other way. And so an alternative would be to enhance the food flavor with condiments. You could, with herbs, spices, salt, pepper, etc. And so look at other ways for adding flavor to your food, rather than relying on, grilling, frying and roasting. So that is, a big part of looking after yourself. And particularly if you're somebody who suffers from arthritis, you've got inflammation in the joints and stuff like that, if you try and improve your diet for like 2-3 weeks and reduce the AGEs based on the information on this slide, I would be surprised if you didn't notice a difference in your health just from doing this alone. So these are the tiny little arteries that are inside the brain. Actually, this was a eye-opening picture. So, when you think of getting congestion in your arteries in your heart, plaque builds up, you've got tiny little arteries, capillaries inside the brain. And so the blood, if your blood's not flowing properly to your heart and you've got blockages, you're likely to have, you're going to have the blockages in your brain too. This was a picture that was taken, obviously from people who have passed away after autopsy, but the bottom one was from somebody who had severe Alzheimer's, and the top one was from somebody who died with no brain impairment. And you can see the reason why, because the top picture shows that the blood can flow through those arteries and capillaries. I guess the correct word would be arteries. Ian, can you chime in here? Just correct me if I'm saying anything wrong. What would you call the little tiny, is that what you would call them inside the brain?
They're not, they're just capillary type things.
Capillaries, yeah.
Arteries.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, arteries are to the heart. Okay, great. So yeah, the capillaries inside the brain. But you can see that how impaired the blood flow would be. So on the bottom picture, like at the top right, there, bottom, third row up, that one's completely blocked. So there's no blood flow at all. If you've got no blood flow going through your brain, how are you actually going to think? Like, how clearly do you think you're going to think? How are you going to recall thoughts, memories, short-term, long-term? It's not going to happen. You need the blood supply. So that's really important to bear in mind. So you want to do everything you can to improve that situation. One thing that impacts that is the AGEs building up in the body, the glycation, the lipofuscin, also plaque, obviously, and overall damage. This particular image here is just showing damage in the eyes that accumulates and causes issues with eyes. Ian, do you want to share with everyone on the call, the research that you've done and the impact glycation has on eyes?
Yeah, sure. One of the things that can happen in the eye is there are very small arteries that feed some of the eye as well, and they can actually get some buildup, or if you get a blood flow stoppage to it from some other area, what you end up with is something like glaucoma, or some sort of a vision impairment. So very important that we actually control our AGEs for this reason. And as we get older, it gets even more viable proposition that this is going to happen. So very important that that the AGEs are controlled.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. And so the AGE pill has ingredients that support the body to remove lipofuscin. Lipofuscin cannot be broken down. It accumulates with age. The name is given to fine yellow-brown pigment granules composed of lipid-containing residuals of liposomal digestion. It's considered to be one of the aging or wear and tear pigments found in the liver, kidney, heart, muscle, retina, adrenals, nerve cells, ganglion cells, etc. So I'll go to the next slide. So this is lipofuscin. So you can see the lipofuscin build up in somebody 76 years versus 54 years, quite a significant difference. affects skin elasticity too. So you can tell the damage on the hands there. You've got damage, obviously a person a lot older in the top image and a little child, obviously they don't have any of that damage yet. And then on the right side, you've got somebody's hand. So they've reduced the damage that's happened with the lipofusion there in there and probably the AGEs. And it's a noticeable difference in their hands there. Now, I'm not sure that this was actually a testimonial, this one here on the right. I think it is. We do have photos like this where people have started taking the product and noticed that their spots on their hand have decreased, the visible appearance of it. So yeah, that's quite interesting. So that's lipofusion. And as we mentioned, it can build up in the organs as well, and including the heart. Now we've got some testimonials to share, and then I wanted to share a little bit of a recording from Tom Mauer. So this is Anthony. I love this testimonial. I always share this one because it's my favorite out of all of the testimonials we've got, because there's just such a noticeable difference in his skin. You can visibly see the improvement after 5 months of taking the AGE pill, particularly the reduction of visible lines under the eye bags. What was interesting, he also noticed an improvement in his memory as well. He said that it was sharper overall. He did add in 3 additional Sisel products, which is the Triangle of Life, which is the Fucoid and Eternity and Spectromax, and had great results. So he does have a condition which is type 1 diabetes. So because diabetics have an issue with regulating sugar, they then tend to get a greater accumulation of AGEs because it's sort of part of the process. And so the benefit for someone in this situation is much greater because there's been more damage that's done there. And so you can see it did make a big improvement to him. This one was from one of our friends in Vietnam. Somebody was basically completely bedridden and then started on the AGE product and was up and about. So this product can really impact people's lives in a positive way. We can't make medical claims. Everybody is different. Some people may not notice benefits. Everybody's, biology's and situation is different. So that's something to bear in mind. But again, here's another picture that you can see the improvement in the skin. It just does wonders for the skin. That's one of the main reasons I love it is, it's basically a skincare product, but it's an internal one that you're taking every day. Ros, before we jump over to Tom Mauer, and I'll just go, I think that was the last slide there. Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit more about why you love this product and testimonials that you've had with it?
Thank you, Katie. I've got some notes because otherwise you won't shut me up. So the number one reason that I started this product over 4 years ago or whenever was, and what I noticed myself at the beginning was for my emotions. And as Katie said, I'm a counsellor in the addiction field, so that of course interests me. The amount of since learned the amount of niacin in the product, and Professor Hoffman way back in the 50s was using high doses of niacin for alcoholics in the AA program for addiction, and we know that addiction is rife on our planet today. So a lot of people notice, and my friends have noticed a boost in energy. I'm not so sure that I can say that because I'm quite an energetic person. In actual part of my self-care has been slowing down, which has been hard to do. So that's what I liken it in my head. I have, like you were talking, Katie, about desludging. I liken it to the spark plugs on the car when they're all gunky and whatever. And each time I take it, we keep it. You know how a car goes so much better when the spark plugs are all cleaned or they're all working. And as we know, when you get to my age, you've lost a lot of your stem cells. So we want to have the ones we've got clean, shiny and sparkling. I have a friend, Joan, many of you might, She's 83, just recently. She's been on the age pill since I started 4 years ago as well. And she got bronchitis. Within about 2 or 3 weeks, the doctor was amazed at how quickly her body healed. She was on the H2O sticks as well, I wanted to mention. But she's a person that it's given her a boost in her look and her vitality. And she was sort of I was looking at Joan thinking, you're starting to get a little bit old, sort of, like just that feeling, but it certainly gives her a boost. Another thing is, by trade, I'm a hairdresser and I still do a few people's hair. And so what my clients have noticed is that their regrowth, when they come back to me, it's getting less and less visible because of the dark hair they're getting. And a lot of you have heard me talk about the Flying Nun, my 93-year-old friend who's a nun, who loves this product. All the back of her hair has gone dark at 93.
Wow.
And let me tell you, she's got more energy and more spunk in her than most people I know at 50, 60, 70. So I wanted to talk about that.
That's amazing.
And what we do is we take photos of the regrowth to see the dark coming back. And my favourite testimonial, I think I've forgotten the guy's name, but the guy that we've had with MS and getting back to the niacin and emotions, that Curt interviews, that guy, that's my favourite.
Mike. Yeah, Mike.
Your favourite one.
Yeah, Mike.
And he talks about with his MS, he was suicidal, he couldn't speak very well. And he could hardly, and all of those things that it did, let alone he didn't need to use his scooter as much, or even if, and all the people that didn't go on it, his friends that he now mixes with, they're just decaying. And was that the right word?
We're decaying at the age of 25.
Well, they're getting worse with their MS, and he's not. But I picked up on his Mike's. I loved it when he said I was suicidal, and you might think my speaking's not good now, but he couldn't speak. He'd be crying all the time. That's what I love about the age pill. The depression that's out there. Everybody needs to be on this product. And I've just finalised by saying I take 12 a day. I went down to 6. I just didn't quite have that edge emotionally. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes if something bumps me emotionally, I do 18.
Yeah, wow.
I get niacin in.
Wow, fantastic.
Thank you for asking.
Oh, that's just fabulous, Ros. That's so inspiring. And what you said about the hair is really great. I've noticed, like, for me, I've been keeping my grey hair at bay. I don't dye my hair. And I actually saw a friend recently, and he's grey. We're the same age. And he said, oh, wow. He said, oh, you dye your hair? And I said, no. So I attribute that to this product and the other supplements I take that's really keeping the grey hair at bay, because we do know that when you become deficient in minerals, vitamins, that will accelerate the grey in hair. But as you've noted that you've got somebody who's quite old, what age was she, the one that basically had the dark hair come back?
I've had not just one. I've had another. Brenda she's in 74. All the back of her hair has dark. When I put the back mirror on her hair, there's no grey in it. Wow. And also Sister Anna, the Flying Nun, who's 93, or a lot of her dark hair at 93.
Wow.
Has come back. And the other people, often I've got people that come for a regrowth. We do the regrowth. I do use herb colours, by the way, and that's why they come to me. Is it's kind of white, so you can see quite a line, but that line they don't need to even have it coloured quite so much, because it's not so standoutish. It's not like a white line. It's got more dark in it. It's kind of blurring it.
Yeah, fantastic. And so, Ros mentioned that she takes quite a few. And so for those of you who are listening and watching, it can be a challenge to get that many in. So you can do what I've started doing recently, and that is to split my dosage. So I'll do, I've started doing, initially I did 4, 4 and 4 in the morning, 4 at lunch, 4 at night, but then I would get the niacin flush. So if you've ever taken a product with niacin in it, you can have what's called a niacin flush, where the skin goes hot and red, the capillaries dilate, the blood flow comes to the surface of the skin. You can go a bit red and itchy. That's just a natural process of when you're taking niacin. It doesn't happen for everyone. It's sort of independent and dose dependent, and also depends on hydration levels, if you've had caffeine, food, etc. So you can mitigate that by reducing the dose and splitting it. So I've been doing, and some people really love that. But if you don't like it, you can reduce the dose and split it across the day. But what I've also found by doing that, I have more sustained, I think, energy, perhaps by splitting it. So I'm just sort of dropping 2 before a meal. I'll do 2 mid-morning, 2, and just having it there, and then taking 2 just as a boost. So you know how people, you can kind of think of it like, people go have a cup, they're feeling kind of a bit down, they need a little bit of an energy boost, they go have a cup of coffee, they might have a cup of tea or an energy drink. You can instead, take a couple of AGE Pill, spread them throughout the day and see how you go with that. And if that boosts your energy, it certainly does for me, and helps with mood, supports my mood. I feel better. As Rosa says, she feels great after taking it. And there's a good reason for that too. The AGE Pill has quite a number of ingredients in it. I think it was 12 or 11 from memory. And a lot of them act as neurotransmitters that actually support mood. When you look up what those ingredients do, they do support the body and help to balance mood and feeling good. And that's what the name of the game is. We want to feel good. We want a happy life. We want a happy, healthy, long life. So we're just on the half hour there. I'll share the Tom Mauer one next time. Hopefully that inspired you on the call today. I appreciate you getting on, and appreciate if you've listened to the call as well. Do share this with others in your team, in your group, if you've got friends or family. It is just such an important product, and for all the reasons that I've discussed today, and also the stories and testimonials we've shared. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks, Roz.
Katie.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.